Alright, today's video is going to be on Captain America Brave New World. This is going to be the last review right now. Obviously, there's going to be something for Thunderbolts, and I actually did watch Daredevil Born Again, but this is going to be the last review for the MCU rewatch for now. So let's go ahead and get into it. The plot, 7-7. The plot of this movie, I think honestly there's some bigger problems with this movie around the marketing leading up to the movie, more so than the movie itself. This movie's plot was pretty like I don't know. They tried to replicate um the Winter Soldier too much, and I honestly wish they would have done their own thing. It felt like a bad imitation of the Winter Soldier. Ultimately, is I think the way I would describe the plot in this movie. Um, yeah, that's really all I can say about it. I don't really want to get too deep into that right now. The dialogue for this movie is a 6.5. I think this is something I was going to say. I'm going to go ahead and reveal the acting too, which is a 7.2. I think Anthony Mackie in this movie suffers from playing the sidekick in the MCU for so long, and then he, kind of gradually rose to the level of being the main guy in the Captain America and the Winter Soldier series that was on Disney Plus. But I think he's still a little in that sidekick role, and it feels a little out of place where he's at now as far as like trying to be like this commanding Captain America figure. And I think that'll get better as he appears in more movies, and I hope it's better in Doomsday and in Secret Wars, because he's gonna have to be that. I mean, he's gonna have to be the heartbeat of those movies, at least somewhat. I hope they don't. I think they might lean on Spider-Man a lot, but we don't even right now know if Spider-Man's going to be in Doomsday. I'd assume he will be. He just hasn't been announced yet. But yeah, I think the acting and the dialogue in this movie, it suffers a lot from um being trying to be something else. It's trying to be the Winter Soldier, and it's not that. And I think when you're trying to be something that you're not, you're often not going to get across the message that you want to give, because you're so fixated on being that other thing that I think you also lose the message along the way. And this movie, it's got a lot of dialogue where they'll be like, "Oh yeah, well, this is the ongoing conflict right now," or they have, I think there's like this really weird like recap dialogue where they're like speaking about things as if you've watched the MCU in the universe. They're speaking like they're speaking about it like, "Oh, well, this happened this many years ago," to like recap everybody on what happened in the Hulk, and then to recap everybody what happened in the Captain America movies and the Disney Plus shows. And it just feels like they're so worried about you not seeing previous movies or previous shows. And it's like, dude, I'm here because I probably have. This is the MCU. It's different from other universes. If I'm sitting in a movie theater, it's probably because I'm willing to watch these other shows, to know your continuity, to know what's going on. And I feel like this movie really treats its audience pretty dumb with its dialogue, and like they're idiots. And me being one of the guys who's like really into it, it felt a little insulting to me and like a waste of my time, because I've done the homework, and now you're speaking to me like I don't know what happened. So yeah, I guess that's really my main complaint with the acting and the dialogue. And again, when a lot of the dialogue is like that, the acting is going to suffer, because if you're only ever delivering information-based dialogue, you're never really getting across any emotion. So yeah, that's kind of my problem. Cinematography. This movie, it's got the way it uses color. They do go out of their way to try and include color, but it seems too fake. The color in this movie, it doesn't look natural. It looks like intention, like the reds and the blues in in this movie. It's so like put on red and blue. And I know that sounds weird, but if you watch the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's a time when they find the thinker. I'm about to call him the leader. Is he the leader? Wait, who? What's the difference between the leader and the thinker? Who is this guy again? Because it's been a while. Okay, yeah, he's the leader. Who the fuck is the thinker? Thinker's a statue. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, so the leader. When they find the leader in his like little dungeon area, the reds in that scene just look so fake. And I don't know. I guess I'll also include that the cinematography, the only thing that looks good in this movie is Tiamat Island and Red Hulk. Everything else doesn't look that great. I guess you could say Captain America, like the vibranium suit, looks okay. They gotta stop changing the suit so frequently, though. You need some continuity somewhere, and I don't know. I feel like Sam's suits have kind of looked a little weird in his Captain America debut in the Winter Soldier and or not in the Winter Soldier, in Captain America and the Winter Soldier, and in this movie too. So yeah, the soundtrack, I gave it a 7.5. I think it's fairly average, fairly mid. I don't remember a lot of it. It's an action soundtrack. It's just there to kind of give you the general tone, and it doesn't do really a bad job or a good job. The comedy in this movie is a 7.3. A lot of it is like military comedy, like punch, like hey man, I'm punching you in the arm, like I'm just shooting the shit with you type shit, and it's a little annoying. Um, but yeah, world building, 7.8. They do try and include, like, I mean, they attach it back to the original Hulk movies and, like I said before, the Captain America movies in the Disney Plus series. But that's about as far as it goes. They don't do anything over the top. The real world politics of the MCU is very boring. I do I like the general vibe of the presentation that Harrison Ford, Thaddeus Ross was giving at the beginning, because it seemed like it was leading somewhere. But then, oh well, actually, the only reason we're seeing this is because that's when an attack happens. So it's like they get close to like kind of getting a little bit more world building in there and giving you a little bit more detail on the general scope of what the MCU looks like as far as the real world, but that we don't ever fully get there. The characters I have at a 7.5, they're very average characters, which I find pretty disappointing for a Captain America movie. Um, I just feel like Anthony Mackie's he's got a little bit of experience to get under his belt before I think he can like really perfect this version of the character. And then the action in this movie, I gave it a 7.9. There's some cool scenes when Sam's flying. There's a scene where I think he's like almost like surfing a rocket. That's pretty cool. And then I think they did the Red Hulk visual effects of him, like jumping and smashing stuff. I think that looked really good. But there is one scene with Sam at the end of the movie where he's talking to Thaddeus Ross. He's trying to talk down the Red Hulk side of it, and it's so clearly on a green screen, and it just takes you out of it a lot. So yeah, end of the day, I think this movie, it felt like it felt incomplete. It felt like we watched it a year too early, maybe. And you could obviously tell that they had a lot of reshoots and a lot of stuff going on with it. So I think generally with some better planning on his future movies, if they take that route in the MCU, I think they will be much better than Brave New World. But yeah, the total rating for Brave New World for me is a 7 flat. This movie to me was a disappointment, again, considering that I think Anthony Mackie is generally an okay actor. And again, it's Captain America. Anything with shield action in it, I'm going to be interested in. But this movie just didn't really do it for me. It's not really like I'm angry at it, disappointing. It's just like the dialogue in it, like it just kind of I don't know. I felt like this movie was just a mess. It was definitely unorganized at the very least. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this movie, Captain America: Brave New World, and what you guys think about my review of it. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.